Arizona Democrats took the unusual step of voting to censure Senator Kyrsten Sinema for her refusal last week to do away with the filibuster, saying her refusal may have killed election reform in the Senate. But censure may not be the extreme step that it once was, as Cronkite News reporter Alexia Standbridge reports from our Washington bureau.
Reagan called it the 11th commandment. Thou shalt not speak ill of fellow Republicans. But that's a commandment that both Republicans and Democrats in Arizona are breaking these days.
But there's no question that this idea of censuring office holders is something that's taken hold in both parties.
Colby, a former Arizona Republican congressman, says there's, quote, no question it's a change from the way parties used to work. He thinks it's more evidence of our current polarization.
We've become so much more polarized today than we were 2 or 3 decades ago. It's been gradually changing, but it's really heightened in the last years.
The Arizona Democratic State Committee voted this month to censure Senator Kyrsten Sinema for her refusal to end the filibuster. A year earlier, the Arizona GOP voted to censure Governor Doug Ducey, former Senator Jeff Flake, and Cindy McCain, the widow of the late Senator John McCain. Arizona is not the only state where parties take their officials to task, but one analyst thinks it may be the most prominent.
We've seen it across the country, but in Arizona, it definitely feels like you hear the most about it of any other state.
Some experts say censure is just the cost of political independence, which Arizona politicians pride themselves on.
You're going to have these independents, and political parties like people to toe the party line. They don't like independent.
Censures grab headlines, but Rose wonders about the real impact on a politician's future.
Don't forget, the people that are doing this are a very, very, very small slice of each party. They're not necessarily representative of the party as a whole.
Coleman doesn't think Sinema can brush off the censure vote.
Her career is looking more tenuous than it ever has been.
But he also points out that Sinema doesn't face re-election for 2 years and agrees with Rose that censure may not have the sting it did in Reagan's day.
My kind of joke there is, it's almost like if you're a prominent politician in Arizona, being censured is almost like a rite of passage to a certain extent.
All joking aside, Sinema could have her work cut out for her. A recent poll found that 48% of Arizona Democrats have an unfavorable opinion of her. In Washington, Alexia Standbridge, Cronkite News.
We asked Senator Sinema for comment on the censure vote. In a statement, her office said Sinema ran this as a quote, an independent voice for the state, not for either political party. It went on to stress that she supports the voting rights bills, even though their consideration was blocked by the GOP filibuster.